Good evening, and today we welcome you to our special interactive sessions with some incredible IPS officers of Delhi Police who are here with us, who are going to talk to us about an interesting subject and the theme of this year's Women's Day, International Women's Day, which is Embrace Equity. And they are going to be talking about how creating equity is more important and not just creating equality in today's scenario. And hence the theme was selected as Embrace Equity. And they are going to tell us about why equal opportunities are not enough. Join me in welcoming Senior IPS Officer Chhaya Sharma, who is Joint CP Eastern Range, Additional CP Traffic Geeta Rani Verma, DCP East Amritha Guguloth. Ma'am, we would like to start with you, asking you on why equity is important and not just equality in today's scenario.
My perception of equity is that we should all have our equal share of the pie, and it's not about getting equal in terms of more than what you can imbibe. So if you see it in terms of the women force, we do fall short. We're not yet the quintessential 50%, and we need not also be. But still, even if we talk about a 30% or a 25% or a 33%, we're still falling way short of that. So, and it is that it is not just at the constabulary level, but it is across all the ranks you have. So maybe at the senior level or at the junior level, the parity should be there. So when we talk of equity, automatically when you have a good sizable number of women in the force, what happens is that you'll have to create infrastructure, you'll have to create an environment where they function more efficaciously. And for doing this, you'll have to create an enabling environment. And therefore, when you do that, larger number of women will get attracted to this thing, because then it makes life for them easier. You'll have separate toilets, you'll have the welfare measures for women, you give them childcare leave, because there are unique requirements of a woman joining a force, and that to a male-dominated force. So it is very much required that we think of measures where we not just consider women as an additional burden which has come into the force, but as very sensitive participants in the police force, which are very required, and that we create an enabling environment where we allow them to function efficaciously. So whether it is on a personal level or a professional level, there are lots of acts which are in place, like the prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, and then we also are the ones who are enforcing the law. So we cannot see that we can have our ladies being subjected to any kind of harassment. So they should also feel secure. So they should be available not only in sitting behind desks in a SEPA room, or just sitting behind a communications network. They should also be seen visible on the field, alongside the men, so that the concept of equity is properly conveyed. So it's not just again I would say we don't want more share of the pie, but at least the equitable distribution, where not just the job opportunity, but even the ability to perform our best and give our best, the kind of unique abilities that women have, that they should be able to contribute to policing. So that environment we need to create.
Absolutely right. To Amritha ma'am, I would like to ask you, women have been facing bias since childhood, or they come from different background. All of them have a different story to tell. So their upbringings are different, their backgrounds are different, the opportunities that they have got so far, they are different. So how do we bring, if you could share a bit about your life and tell us how it was different, and how equity was something that you got, and how the opportunities that you got and what brought you over here.
I think that's a very, very good question that you put to me, and I'm really happy to answer that. Because citing an example, especially today's example, there was one public representative who had come to me. She had mentioned that probably I am facing a lot of suppression and kind of stigma is being attached to me, to my name, by male personnel, male counterparts. She was mentioning that in her own words that this is being done. I don't want to take the name of the person, but she herself told that. So bias is always there, and it's a long way to go before we remove the bias. And if those are the words of the public representative,
Yes.
In such a good position, whom she can address the issues of the entire public, as a issue of herself, if she is raising such an issue of herself, then we can always emulate and think that that is a very much present in today's scenario. And if you see my own case, we are 3 girls in my family.
Okay.
Like I have an elder sister, younger sister, and no male child to my parents, and they never aspired for one. They always told that be it male or female, you are my kids, and I want to raise in such a way that I will raise any other kid. So I think the first thing where the women or the girls can be empowered is that from the family. Where the family don't see them differently, where they give them a level playing field and they tell them, hey, whatever you pursue, we are there to support you.
Sure.
And I think that change has to happen in every household. Even today, we see a lot of families, especially there are complaints who come to us, where the boy, he will be a very qualified officer, and then there will be a girl, his own sister or brother, sister younger or elder. She is uneducated. I have seen cases where I put the same question to the boy. You are so well educated. Didn't you ever feel like educating your own sister? He said, though being such educated and well-positioned place in the society, he himself mentioned that we don't follow those kind of traditions in our family.
Okay.
So that thing is still there, and I think that has to come from every family. At that level, I think the change has to happen, where people think that boy and girl are no different and they are one and the same, and everybody is given proper opportunity, they would excel in their own field.
Absolutely.
And that has to take place. Eventually it will come where the society has a playing field, and the thing has to start from the family and then taken over. People has to be sensitized, especially in the schools. Curriculum, however, has undergone change over the years, highlighting the gender issues, but I think a lot has to be done for the change to happen.
Right. Absolutely right. Police force, it's a very diverse and inclusive police force, is essential for building trust and legitimacy in the community. So, how can you make that possible in Delhi Police? How can we ensure that there is equity and we are following the necessity of the day?
Would you want to answer? I think when you talk of inclusivity and you talk of a force like Delhi, we are actually handling a lot of this diverse population. Like in Eastern Ring, where Amritha and I are posted, we are handling a lot of communal issues. We are also handling a lot of domestic violence and a lot of other issues, so which are related to women. And there are a lot of elopement issues. So there are starting from small girl child's safety to sometimes very serious issues like domestic violence. So we feel that when you talk of inclusivity, the Delhi Police should have a good number of, like I said, a good number of women officers. Who should be able to deliver, who should be professionally trained and delivered. So we cannot say that X number at a number says only the IPS or the DANIPS officers enough number is enough. We need to have at each cutting edge level, we should have enough number of women who should be able to handle as many number of cases. And then they should also be from different backgrounds. They should come from South India, they should come from Northeast. You must be aware that Delhi Police had done a drive in the Northeast, and we got people from North, because we have a lot of pockets where the Northeastern people are staying in communities and are having very specific issues. So similarly, they could be, the wall city where you have, the Muslim women having specific issues.
Yeah.
So you would need, women who are maybe of the Muslim community and are, in the police force, and so they lead from the front on those areas.
Yeah.
So to handle a diverse crowd and diverse all sorts of regionalism and all sorts of casteism, and as well as being women. So then, that would make it a very wholesome kind of a police force where we can move forward in terms of the fact that we are not only reacting to their specific problems in a very sensitive way, but we are also looking at it from a very empathetic way as women would do, and the most vulnerable.
Right.
We reach out to the most vulnerable. So I think, I'm not saying that having men in the force with a similar diagram will not be, but I feel that having the women understand, because even women victims find it easy to approach women, to discuss their problems.
Right.
So we've had these Mahila Thana, these desks in each police station. We tried to have duty officers who are women. So at the frontal level, where they're at the cutting edge, where they have to meet people, the first person they should meet is maybe a woman who can handle the issue, understand the issue, and take the person to the correct place. So I think we need that diversity, and therefore, this when you talk of this equity aspect, it will only enhance the police force further in terms of its delivery to the diverse, force that we have,
Right.
and the kind of crowd that we are dealing with.
Right. Women, like you mentioned, that they do face a lot of issues. Sometimes when they want to report a crime, they face issues, or maybe after reporting the crime, they face issues. As opposed to men, be it any crime, not just crimes against women, there may be other issues that they want to report on. But they, how do you ensure that women citizens, they they feel included, or there is something more offered to them as compared to men, where we are not trying to, where again the factor of equity comes in, on how you mentioned the help desks and the pink booths and the women helplines where they can complain, and they also feel secure about it. What more can be done beyond this to ensure that women do come forward?
हम लोग अपने जो हमारे सबऑर्डिनेट्स हैं उनकी बहुत अच्छी ब्रीफिंग करें, ताकि उनको ये समझ में आए कि उन्हें कैसे जो अपने आपके यहाँ जो विक्टिम्स आ रहे हैं उनको कैसे वो हैंडल कर सकें. इसके अलावा जितने हमारे मेल ऑफिसर्स हैं, मेल ऑफिसर्स को भी चाहिए कि उनकी इतनी जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन की ट्रेनिंग हो, ताकि वो लोग भी कैसे, मान लीजिए फीमेल को फीमेल ही नहीं एंटरटेन करना चाहिए, मेल ऑफिसर्स भी एंटरटेन कर सकते हैं, मेल ऑफिसर्स भी उतना ही जेंटली डील कर सकते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि हर बार हमें फीमेल को चाहिए कि फीमेल के सामने खड़ा कर दो, या क्राइम अगेंस्ट विमेन है उसमें जितनी भी हैं सारी फीमेल ऑफिसर्स ही हों. मेल में भी इतनी सेंसिटिविटी होनी चाहिए. तो एक ब्रीफिंग जो है वो हम अपनी फीमेल ऑफिसर्स हमारे से ऊपर जो हैं उनसे भी हम बात करें, उनसे हम क्या डायरेक्शन ले रहे हैं, और फिर हम नीचे जितना स्टाफ है उनको हम मेल और फीमेल ऑफिसर्स उनको कैसे ब्रीफ करें, ताकि वो बहुत ही जेंटली और अच्छे से, जितने अच्छे से एक फीमेल ऑफिसर अगर सुन सकती है तो मेल ऑफिसर्स भी उतने अच्छे से सुन सकता है. इस तरह की हम उनकी थोड़ी सी नर्चरिंग करें.
जी जी जी, राइट. आपने सेंसिटिविटी का बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट बोला.
I just want to add a little bit to it. So what she's saying is a very relevant issue. The aspect of how we can become more sensitive to women's requirements. One step would be there are a lot of cyber crimes happening. So there's a lot of sextortion happening.
Yes.
There's a lot of cyber stalking. A lot of women are being harassed by on the cyber front. So we have now 15 cyber police stations all over Delhi. So it's not just limited to one. And earlier when women had to just the thana to go to, and the Thana people sometimes would be inept in answering their queries or handling their issues.
Yes.
So now we have these 15 of this thing. And apart from that, through you, I would like to tell them that they have this cybercrime.gov.net. So they have this they have this website. Because if you just type that, you'll get the form where you can lodge a complaint sitting in your house. So a girl who's feeling threatened, who's feeling stalked, who's feeling that somebody is harassing her on the net or on the using the cyber area, she can sitting in her home type that format out, and there is an option available where if she wants to keep her name anonymous also she can do that. So these are things where we are making them bolder. Not only through helplines, the various helplines where we have an anti-stalking helpline, but we also have these places where actually you can file a complaint and then someone can reach out to you when you're sitting in the safety of your own house.
Right.
So that is one very modern day issue which we are handling in a very smart way.
Right. And you led the Nirbahaya Gangrape case as a young DCP. Now, how has Delhi Police evolved in understanding different needs of policing? Where how things, I'm sure things were different then, things are different now. They got to be different, but how has that evolution happened?
See, post Nirbhaya, you know about the Criminal Amendment Acts that came.
Yes.
So, and also the kind of the response which police had to give at that point of time in terms of all the women and the community itself coming around and calling it out. And earlier they were a suppressed kind of a society. They wouldn't want to even complain about a simple harassment or a whistling or a somebody stalking. They will not report. But then they became bolder after Nirbhaya. They said no, we have to call it out. And there were a lot of even simpler issues which women were facing in the work front were brought to the fore, and they were, so of course there were a fair set of some false complaints also, but there were also the good large number when men in the family or the people in the family supported women and said "Chahiye, hum chalte hain aapke saath," and we will complain. So this has also made the police force change, because now you had to deal with complainants. The instructions were that you have to take a victim's version verbatim.
Right.
So whatever she's saying, verbatim, we have to take it down. Secondly, this concept of 0 FI was introduced. So suppose a woman is uncomfortable about going into a particular thana, and she's comfortable in a particular thana, and she goes and complains. So she must have that flexibility of giving that complaint to a comfortable, the local or the most nearest thana, and if need be, the 0 FI could be sent to that the respective jurisdictional police station. So this gave the confidence. Then for police officers, the change came that there was a section called 166A, which was added in CRPC, that if in IPC, that if a police officer is not registering, in fact a SHO is not registering a FIR,
yes,
and then there could be actually an FIR against him, because if a lady comes to a police station with a complaint of sexual assault, it has to be given priority. So this is overall percolated down in such a way that now the moment we get a complaint for rape, or we get, then POCSO came in 2012, and subsequently we had this POSH Act coming in 13.
Yes.
So all these complaints where women and children were there, now the sensitivity is that first we register the case and we look at the victim and make sure the counselling is done and the medical is there and everything is there, rather than waiting for inquiry and doubting the victim. So there has been a big attitudinal change. And then with all these sections, like earlier, if you were just staring at a person or you were just stalking a person, this was not a offence at all, even a bailable offence. But now they have become offences as part of the IPC. So now the laws become a little more tightened and stringent. Trafficking was added for the first time at 370. So technically, if someone really wants to use these legal measures, they are very strong. And how one uses it and how one does to help a victim, it is up to the officer, it is up to what the victim wants eventually, how far they want to take it.
Right.
So that way I think policing has changed a lot and the attitudes have changed a lot. We are also, as senior officers, very, very strict when we find that cases are not registered when a woman complains. So if a woman reaches out to us directly or she has been rejected by the thana, we are very strict about that. So this is an overall attitude change which has come, where women's complaints have been started to be taken very, very seriously. So that I feel in the last 10 years has been a very big change. And of course there are a lot of other changes which will come slowly, because in terms of like she was mentioning that how the patriarchy which is in our system, how we prevent that in affecting our reaction to women victims or their families. So we have to be very sensitive, we have to be very empathetic. So that portion, it will take a gradual change to come.
Yes.
So soft skills and other things will really slowly develop. But still, a big part of our workforce who are at the cutting edge level are very aware that these things are non-negotiable. Not even with the seniors, not even with the courts. So everybody's become very conscious about it.
Right, I'm absolutely right.
इसी में एक चीज़ मैं भी थोड़ी सी ऐड करूँगी. हम लोग मैं DCPs को वर्क हुआ करती थी।
जी, जी, जी।
तो वहाँ पर जितने भी फील्ड के ऑफिसर्स हैं उनके हम लोग मीटिंग किया करते थे अलॉन्ग विद NGOs। वो NGOs जो कि CIC में क्राइसिस इंटरवेंशन सेंटर, जो रेप की कॉल वगैरह आती है तो उसमें दे आर आल्सो पार्ट। तो उसमें पुलिस पार्ट होती है, वकील पार्ट होते हैं और उसमें ये जो NGOs होती हैं वो पार्ट होती हैं। तो हम लोग ये मीटिंग हर 2 महीने में किया करते थे। तो उसमें बहुत सारे इश्यूज इस तरह के आया करते थे। वो लोग बताया करते थे हमें कि अब चीज़ें कैसे हैंडल हो रही हैं, अब इस वाले ऑफिसर ने कैसे हैंडल की हैं, या देर में पहुंचे हैं या जल्दी पहुंचे हैं। तो दे वर आल्सो अ प्लेटफॉर्म कि वो लोग भी हमें बताया करते थे और फिर हम सारे पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को चिट्ठी लिख के बताते थे कि करेक्शनल मेजर्स अगर लेने हैं तो क्या लिए जा सकते हैं।
जी जी। और आपने इसके पहले मेंशन किया अबाउट दिस सेंसिटिविटी, दिस पॉइंट ऑफ सेंसिटिविटी, जो इस बार हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने भी इस बारे में बात करी, इस पॉइंट के बारे में मेंशन हुआ था कि पुलिस में सेंसिटिविटी क्यों जरूरी है। तो जैसे आपने बताया कि इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी अ वुमन वुड फील कंफर्टेबल ओनली इन फ्रंट ऑफ अ वुमन ऑफिसर, सो मेल ऑफिसर शुड बी इक्वली सेंसिटाइज्ड अबाउट इट। सो ये जब हम इक्विटी की बात करें तो ऑलरेडी काफ़ी एक लहर होती है उनमें कि आप वैसे भी विमेन के लिए कुछ ज़्यादा एक्स्ट्रा कुछ करते हैं। तो जब हम इक्विटी की बात करें तो कहीं ये तो नहीं लगेगा कि हम अगेन विमेन के लिए कुछ और एक्स्ट्रा क्रिएट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, कहीं उनकी ये सोच जो है या उनके अंदर ये जो सेंसिटाइजेशन देना है इवन अबाउट इक्विटी, वो मैन में कैसे आ सकता है?
देखिए, जो कहा जाता है ना, एक लाइन स्टार्ट करते हैं रेस में। तो रेस में अगर आप ऑलरेडी पीछे हैं, अगर ऑलरेडी आप कम हैं तो नेचुरली आप पीछे रह जाएंगे। तो कहीं ना कहीं ये वैसी वाली बात है कि एक बार आप मेंटली, फिजिकली, आप हर तरह से आपको समझना पड़ेगा कि आप बराबर हैं। आप पहले से ही सोच लोगे कि हम तो कमज़ोर हैं, हमें तो ट्रीटमेंट की ज़रूरत है, हमें तो ब्रीफिंग की ज़रूरत है, तो आप फिर नहीं समझ पाओगे, ना आगे बढ़ पाओगे। आपको वो सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस का लेवल आप में आना ज़रूरी है। आप में वो उतने उस लेवल का, जैसे मैडम ने कहा कि उस लेवल का इंटेलिजेंस लेवल चाहिए, उस लेवल का कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए, उस लेवल की ब्रीफिंग चाहिए आपको, ताकि आप ये ना सोचो कि आप चल रहे हो साथ में अपने साथ वाले करीब के साथ में और आप बोलो इसे जाने देते हैं आगे, ये संभाल लेगा मोर्चा। तो आप में भी उतना लीडरशिप क्वालिटी होना चाहिए कि आप आगे बढ़ के उससे पहले आप चलें।
जी।
तो ये वाला लेवल जब तक आपका नहीं आएगा तब तक आप ये इक्वालिटी की बात जो है वो पूरी नहीं होगी।
But when it comes to complainants, usually जो lady complainants होते हैं या बच्चे complainants जो भी होते हैं, whenever we see them, they are already in distress. They are already traumatized. To bring them out of that distress, we have to have some special care, special protection, special privileges given to them, so that they come out of that trauma, come out of that distress, and feel comfortable to share those things with somebody, so that their issues can be sorted out. So I think that kind of sensitivity has to be there towards the vulnerable section, खास करके the women and the ladies in the society, because अभी भी उनके upliftment के लिए काम काफी बचा हुआ है। It is not, it has not improved to such extent to where it has to have improved before. So I think as long as that remains, the special care, special protection, special privileges that have been provided to them has to remain. In fact, they have to be implemented and forced to a greater extent, so that that improvement, that gap, the bridge will take place.
You can go for more community outreach programs.
You mentioned about the cyber, the recent facility that women are getting while reporting cybercrime. You must be aware that Delhi Police came up with this campaign of Akele Nahi, so which has been garnering a lot of attention, and people are also really appreciating this step. So Akele Nahi hai, aapka what would you like to talk about this? Tell us about it.
So basically, we're just trying to tell the women that we are there for you, and that for because like more often than not, women are thinking 105 times before reporting.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially when they are going out and they are working, and even when in their travel they are facing some problem. It could be a sexual harassment, it could be teasing, it could be anything. They fear, and they say that if we report, probably we may maybe ask by the family not to start work.
Absolutely.
So it is a direct relationship with their independence, economic or otherwise, being curtailed. So there is a fear factor. Then there is of course a psychological factor that women start feeling more vulnerable, feeling why me, and then this is all this thing. So all this prevents a woman from not sharing, not calling it out. So this campaign is basically to tell them that we are there for you, and that at any aspect of your life which you feel is being affected, we are there for you. And if you call us, we will be there and we will be handling it. Whether it is cyber, whether it is something to do with you're going and you're handling you're being eve teased. So we are there for you. और अकेले नहीं हैं आप, दिल्ली पुलिस आपके साथ है. So all our these whether you talk about a pink booth, or you talk about a Mahila desk in a thana, or you talk about the women Jaguar teams that go out patrolling on a motorcycle, or women posted outside girls' schools. So this is only a confidence building exercise which we want to do, and we want to reach out to the women in the society saying that we're there for you. And there are so many helplines, there are so many cyber police stations where they can all go easily and talk. And we also have, like she mentioned, the SPUVAG for the people who are facing domestic issues. So they can get counseled there. So all this is available with Delhi Police. It's up to the people to come out to us and reach out to us and call it out. Yes, I'm being harassed, I'm being in a problem, and how she can be helped. 90% of the times I have felt that she needs that one little step of courage to come out and report, and then we take care of the issue from there. We sometimes have to keep her identity anonymous, her parents, from her parents. Sometimes we just want to know the incident and we handle the perpetrator ourselves. So those issues we can handle very comfortably, provided she comes out and she shares the issues.
Right. मैम, आप कुछ शेयर करना चाहेंगे about things that you faced, how was your journey, how did you आप यहाँ कैसे?
मैं 93 में दानिप्स में आई थी जी. उससे पहले एक ऑफिसर और थी यामिन हजारिका मैडम, शी वॉज इन 78. तो 78 के बाद सीधे 15 साल बाद सेकेंड दानिप्स ऑफिसर में मैं आई थी जी. तब से लेके अब तक मुझे 29 ईयर्स हो गए हैं जी. और इन 29 ईयर्स में कहीं ना कहीं महिला पुलिसिंग जो है उसमें बहुत चेंज है. उस समय में विमेन ऑफिसर क्योंकि कम थी तो ये माना जाता था कि इनको फील्ड में कैसे लगाएं, पता नहीं कर पाएगी कि नहीं कर पाएगी. तो मुझे बहुत बाद में चांस दिया गया था. जैसे आजकल ऑफिसर्स को साथ के साथ विमेन ऑफिसर को फील्ड में पोस्टिंग दी जाती है, तो उस समय ऐसा नहीं था. उस समय ये माना जाता था कि ये कुछ पर्टिकुलर जो जगह हैं, स्पोवाक हो गया या कुछ खास जगह हैं जहाँ पे इनको पोस्ट किया जा सकता है. लेकिन अब आने वाले समय में ये चीज़ें काफ़ी कुछ चेंज हुई हैं. इवन मैं देखती हूँ कॉन्स्टेबलरी में भी बहुत संख्या में अब लेडीज़ जो हैं लड़कियाँ फील्ड में लगाई जा रही हैं. सो दिस इज़ अ मेजर चेंज कि पहले कहीं ना कहीं एक हेजिटेशन था कि फील्ड में ना दिया जाए इनको, पता नहीं कर पाएंगी कि नहीं कर पाएंगी. कर तब भी सकती थी, कर अब भी रही हैं, लेकिन एक बायस था और वो बायस तो रहता ही है कहीं ना कहीं.
सो ये कहीं ना कहीं हमें बताता है कि आज भी मतलब एक इक्विटी एंड इक्वालिटी दोनों की जिसकी बातें हम कर रहे हैं वो
कहीं ना कहीं नीडेड है
जी,
कहीं ना कहीं जरूरत है उसकी
जी. With this we would like to end our session, and thank you so much for joining us, ma'am, and thank you for especially taking time out for this conversation. Thank you so much.